Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Shelagh Fogarty.
Rachael Venables is here, LBC's correspondent, to bring us an update on some support that may be forthcoming for people caught up in the cladding and other building issues as well post-Grenfell. Rachael, tell us more.
Sheila, we've been obviously exposing and talking about this cladding crisis on LBC since the summer, and in that time countless people have been calling in, have spoken to you about how their lives really have been ruined by this scandal. We've got millions of people affected with the crisis in the aftermath of the Grenfell Tower fire, as we've finally begun to understand how many buildings out there have similar types of cladding, also issues like flammable insulation and many other building safety defects on the outside of tower blocks that can be 18 metres high and much taller tower blocks that are huge, and also shorter buildings as well. 16% of all properties, in fact, are thought to be affected by this, with people trapped, unable to sell their homes. They've been valued worthless, and many as well facing astronomical bills to fix these historical defects, while also facing service charge increases, fees for things like fire alarms, fire wardens, and insurance costs soaring as well. And we know, sadly, that some people have already gone bankrupt because of these fees, and it's feared that many more will follow. Now, Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer has been critical of the government's handling of this crisis up till this point. The government's put in, for example, a £1.6 billion fund to fix these buildings, but it's thought that the real cost to fix all the affected buildings could be up to 15, if not 30 billion pounds. Sir Keir Starmer also has sympathised with leaseholders in the past, but today on LBC in Call Keir, for the first time really, he went a significant step further, announcing that on Monday Labour will force a vote in the House of Commons to try and protect these millions of flat owners from these extortionate bills.
On Monday, we're going to force a vote on this. Every now and again, the opposition get the chance to make an argument, to put a motion that can be voted on. And we're going to say to the government, you've got three things. Establish the extent of the problem, because if you can believe it, 3.5 years after Grenfell, the numbers even aren't sorted. Upfront funding to deal with it and remedy it, and to protect leaseholders from simply having to bear the cost. So practical issues to move this on, Giles. It's an intolerable situation. We are going to put it down for voting. I hope the government doesn't vote against us.
And separately, Sheila, we also know that Labour have now tabled an amendment to the Building Safety Bill, which is progressing through Parliament now. That bill was intended to boost safety standards following the Grenfell Tower fire. Labour now throwing their support behind an amendment which would again protect leaseholders from being forced to pay to fix things like cladding remediation, whether that cladding had been on the building when the building was built, goodness knows how many years ago, and also to protect them from the costs of replacing things which have happened even since they've bought their flat. So in remediation works, for example, that could have happened much more recently.
Thanks, Rachael. Rachael Venables, LBC's correspondent.